Hiya, evening everybody. So it's Ed here from the Warriors clan, just doing a quick video to talk about the Showdown event, and hopefully I'm right on this, so that I'll delete this video if it turns out I'm wrong. But I think I've figured out how um, how the event works, and it's relatively simple, hopefully, and straightforward. And so I've worked out a formula. Well, it's not really a formula. I've just kind of demonstrated how the event works, how the battles work, and determining um, our likelihood of winning and which lanes we need to be particularly careful with. So first things first, I just want to have a look at and see what. So we're looking at the moment at the Showdown screen, and it's showing our three lanes versus the team we're coming up against. So you can see from the team we're coming up against, they've got 27 people in the left-hand lane. The total power for those 27 people is 29,000, and you've got the same stats for the other two lanes. Now, looking at our power, their weakest one is more powerful than our weakest one. Their strongest one is stronger than our strongest one, and their middle one is similar to our middle one. So you would think initially that we're actually in a bit of a dire situation. They're more powerful than us in two of the lanes easily. And if they get their positioning right, potentially in all three lanes. But I've been doing some more digging, and actually that's not the case, or at least I don't believe that's the case. So what I've done is had a look at each of our lanes, and this is, to be fair, this is something I looked at before, during the registration phase, so before the battles actually start. And what I'm actually looking at here is the order of battle. So you'll see that we have 26 people here, but 6 of them are not participating. They're just reservists, which means they get rewards for participating, being part of the event, but they don't actually take part in any battles. So anything over and above the first 20 you can ignore, which is why this total power score is misleading, because it includes the power of your non-participating members. So looking at the 20 that will take part, what I've done is I've logged on the Excel spreadsheet over here. The green column is our column. Literally every single one of our battle powers in the order in which they battle. And I've done the same for the center lane and for the right hand lane as well. So I've literally gone through and taken all of these power scores and logged them all in our Excel spreadsheet. And I've done the same for them as well. And it's not perfect, especially in this particular case, because the team we're up against have won the first and the second round 3-0. So what that means is if we look at their battle report, so it's this kind of little trophy symbol down here, we can actually go back to round 2 and to round 1. And so if we look at round 1, for example, the team we're up against, the 99, they won 3-0. So if we click on the replay button, it will take us to replay. We're not actually going to watch the battles. We're going to click straight on the battle report. And the battle report is where we have this, what I believe to be highly important power number. And so we can see they're numbered. So our number 1 for our left-hand lane, for example, is 1053 in terms of their power. Their number 1 on this particular lane is 1034. So assuming, and it is an assumption at this point, assuming that simply the highest battle score will win, we should beat them on the first round. And that's really how I've based this entire approach. So what I've done is I've looked through, and again I've logged every single one of their members' powers up to what's visible. Now because they won 3-0 and because of the way the battle went, they only got up to their 18th most powerful person, so I don't know what their 19th and 20th most powerful person is. And I've taken this information from the left lane, the center lane, and the right lane, and I've captured all of that information. What I've also done is I've then looked at the other round. So if we go back a step, that was the first round of the competition. The second round of the competition, I've looked again. So the 99, click on replay, and go to the battle report. And again, I've looked through to see if they've won, for example, they're on this side this time, the T99, to see if we've gone past the 18th person, and we haven't. So looking at the Excel spreadsheet I've done for you, we know from the lane that they've used on the left, we don't know what their 19th and 20th person is. So I've logged all of their players that we can see, and I've done the same for each of their lanes. And so this is quite interesting actually. Their middle lane is their weak lane, and they've won, you know, really early on. They've smashed the opposition, and so we don't know what 8 of their players have, which is potentially important. I've done the same for each of those lanes, so we've got all of that information logged here. So the next thing I've done is I've compared what our score is for our left-hand lane, and I've compared it against all 3 of their lanes to see if we battle against their left lane, would we win? If we battle against their middle lane, would we win? If we battle against their right lane, would we win? And so the 1 represents a yes, we would win. If it says false, then it's a case that we wouldn't win, or in this case, we don't know. So if we take the first battle that's going to happen, our person has 1053, and it doesn't matter which one of their lanes we're up against, we're going to beat them in all 3 of these scenarios. So we know we're guaranteed that we're going to win the first battle. Now, it's not this simple. If, for example, our first person goes on to battle a second person, we're going to lose that second round unless we're significantly stronger than them. To give you an idea, I mean, if we had someone that's say a 1300 power and we're up against someone that's 1400 power, the person with 1400 power would win, but they would probably lose their next round. Whereas I've seen one on here that if it's like a 1300 power up against a 1700 power, the person with 1700 would win actually 2 rounds in a row. So the power does make a difference. And again, just going back to what I said earlier, it is an assumption. I'm assuming that if the 2 figures are very close, so for example, if we had, say, 1031 and they have 1032, I'm assuming that 1 difference is literally the deciding factor, rather than, for example, the troop balance between infantry, riders, and hunters. Or the chief gear or whatever else affects that. So what I'm assuming is that the battle power score here is literally an accumulation of all of those different factors, and it just gives you a single accumulated score, and that's what you battle with, is that score. So what I've worked out here is where it's got the 1s listed, that's just using this basic formula at the top to indicate whether our number is bigger than their number. And so what we can see from here is that this left-hand lane is one of our stronger lanes, would actually win hands down on any of them. And obviously there's some unknowns. We have, we don't. Sorry for the little break in speech there. My battery just ran out of my headset. So just to mention, yeah, so these ones we don't know what their score is. We can't be certain we're going to win those rounds. I mean, I think looking at this particular pattern of how weak these are, I think we'd be quite confident in saying that we would beat them all in this. But the other really important factor is to win the flag, we need to win more than them. So we need to win at least 11. So I've got a tally here of how many we would win, and then a basic formula to determine whether the amount we win is greater than 10 or not. And so in all 3 of these cases, it doesn't matter which lane our what's currently our left lane, it doesn't matter which lane of theirs we come up against, we're going to win in every situation. So I'm just going to expand this so you can see the full thing. So I've actually done the same for all 3 lanes. So our current center lane, depending whether we come up against their left, center, or right lane, depends on what results we're going to get. So just to make sure it's clear, if we don't know what their number is, it's going to show false. If their number is bigger than our number, it's also going to show false. So really it's just the 1 that we're looking for. The 1 indicates that it's going to be a win. So we know that if we come up against their left-hand lane, we're going to lose, because we're going to get 0 wins. If we come up against their right-hand lane, we're going to lose and we're going to get 0 wins. Crucially, if we come up against this middle lane, we're guaranteed to get at least 11 wins, which is enough. We're going to lose the first one and then win 11 others, and that's going to be enough to ensure the lane. So it doesn't matter what these remaining 8 players have as their score, we will win this round. So this our centre lane, our current centre lane, this is crucial. We need to do our very best to match up with their centre lane so that we can win. Otherwise, we're going to lose this. Our centre lane will not win. And then if we look at our right hand lane, again, it's a fantastic situation. We are stronger than them. So I've got the numbers in the wrong place here. We are stronger than them in every single one. So our first battle will be stronger than all 3 of their lanes. Same for the second, etc. There's just these 2 here that would actually lose in the order of play. But again, overall, we're going to win 16 flags, potentially more, but depending on the last 2 that we don't know about. So we're going to win more than 10. So we know whichever column our our right hand lane comes up against, we're going to beat them. So we're going to definitely win 2. We're definitely going to win with our left lane, regardless of who we're up against. We're definitely going to win with our right lane, regardless of who we're up against. And we can potentially get a 3-0 win on the basis that we can pair our centre lane up with their centre lane. So one of the other things that you can do with this is where you're going back and you're looking at the history of results. So if we go back to round 1 and we look at the 99, we can actually see what lanes they had their players in for this. So if we go to the battle report, we can see on the left lane they had these particular people, and I've got those listed. In the middle lane they had their weakest people, and in the right hand lane they had this other group starting with 1031 in the first battle. And then if we look at the second round, we can see again what troops they had in what lane. And what I'm really quite pleased about is they actually had the same troops in the same lane from the first to the second battle, and so that's a strong indication that they don't play around with the lanes, they just leave them as they were. And so I'm going to make an assumption and say they didn't change from the first to the second round, so they're not going to change from the second to the third round. So what I need to do is make sure we have our what was our central lane, our weak lane. We need to have that in the middle, because we expect them to have their weak lane in the middle, and therefore we should get a 3-0 win. So you can ignore the fact that on this initial display it suggests they've actually got the more powerful army. That's misleading, and it's purely because they have more people registered to the tournament than we do, and that's beefed up their power scores, even though they're not people that are going to participate in the battle. So that's my understanding of how the event's going to play out. So just to confirm, I do still have my weak lane in the middle. I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to send a note to my R Force to say do not move them, and then I'm going to sit back and watch for a 3-0 win and make sure that my theory is correct. So hopefully you like this, hopefully you find some use from this, and if you think it's good, feel free to copy the strategy and use it in your own alliance.